Joining us now with stories trending around the world on a Friday is Anieze Osakwe. Annie, good to see you.
Yes, good to see you. So glad it's Friday. It's been a week, but we're here. We made it. Good morning, Dr. Abati.
TGIF. Good morning, Annie. How are you?
TGIF. I'm well, thank you. Rufai, how's it going? Good to have you back.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Good. All right. Happy Friday to everyone out there. Good morning. And thank you all for starting your day with us. So we begin what's trending with the fallout, the reactions, the commentary, all coming out of River State after the State House of Assembly, believed to be loyal to FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, made that major decision just about 24 hours ago on live TV, no less, to start the impeachment process against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, Ngozi Odu. Now, plenary was overseen by the Speaker of the State House, Martins Amaewule, while Major Jack laid out the allegations of gross misconduct. Let's take a look.
Mr. Speaker, we conclude by stating that the governor has shown that he is not prepared to govern River State in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended, and his oath of office. The Supreme Court, in suit number SC/CV/1174/2004, condemned his actions when he stated that the 8th responder fear of impeachment by the River State House of Assembly is no justification for his attack on the House of Assembly, the Constitution, the government of River State, and the rule of law. Political disagreement cannot justify this attack and contempt for the rule of law by the governor of River State.
And while 26 members of the State House did sign the notice backing this impeachment, within hours, a number of groups pushed back. The Campaign for Democracy, the ljaw National Congress, as well as the River State chapter of the APC, publicly rejecting the impeachment altogether. Now, in a statement signed by the party's spokesperson, Darlington Nwauju, he says in part, and I'll read from the statement, "It would be totally untenable for a party to keep quiet when an obvious hangover from strifes within the PDP are allowed to resurface. Therefore, we strongly advise all members of the House of Assembly, especially APC members, to resist pressures to destabilize the government of River State, ably led by His Excellency Sir Fubara. We call on members to immediately discontinue the impeachment process in order not to drag the image of our great party to the mud and stifle the continuous progress of the state. Let our state remain a democracy and not a politicocracy." And I'll take one reaction before coming to you, Dr. Abati. Jonathan says, "Nigerian politicians are painful to watch. Not entertaining, not dramatic, painful. A country as large, populous, and strategically important as Nigeria is busy playing small, stupid games, while the rest of the world hardens its borders, stockpiles power, and quietly prepares for conflict. This is a dangerous historical moment, and Nigeria is wasting it. But none of this is normal. It's not normal for public office to function as a private war chest. It's not normal for a state to be rich and its people perpetually poor. And it's not normal for a country of this size and importance to drift while the world rearranges itself. This is not politics as usual. It's a slow collective failure, and pretending otherwise is part of the problem." So, Dr. Abati, like I said, I'll come to you on this because it was just about 24 hours when we were sitting here that this news broke. We're now 24 hours past. We've heard what people have to say. How do you think the people of Rivers should be seeing this? What do you anticipate to potentially hear from the president? And how should the country be feeling right now?
Okay, there are two sides to the issue, as we have discussed with commentators on this subject, and also the APC spokesperson in River State, Darlington Nwauju. The political side of it, and I think you prefaced that in your introduction, by saying that this has something to do with the self-appointed, self-styled godfather of River State politics, namely the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, who has said Sim Fubara, who is now of the APC, cannot be the 001 of Rivers State APC politics, and that in fact he will not be allowed to have a second term. So what's that popular folk saying? That the witch cried yesterday, and the baby died this morning. That's exactly the kind of folkloric situation that you have now had in Rivers State, with the Rivers State House of Assembly that is said to be loyal to Nyesom Wike, now saying, oh, we have commenced impeachment proceedings. The second part of it about politics is that Nyesom Wike says, well, he was the one who made Fubara governor of the state, along with some other people, and that if they don't listen to him, they cannot move forward. 3, he even went as far as saying that Rivers State is a no-go area, that anybody that tries to get involved in Rivers State politics without his approval will face issues. So that's the political side of it. But Darlington Nwaju, whom we interviewed this morning, said the Wike that is talking is not even a member of the ruling APC, either in Rivers or at the federal level, and that as far as he is concerned, Wike is totally irrelevant because he cannot be dictating to a party where he's not a member. So that political side, however, he says they will sort it out because APC, either locally or federally, does not agree that Fubara, who is now a member of their party, should be impeached, and this is the 3rd time that is happening. The irony, however, is that the members of the House of Assembly now are members of the APC. The governor himself is, as his own supporters have said, the 001 of APC politics in Rivers. So there is confusion, and that's why I talked earlier on about an imminent blowout. You talked about the people of Rivers State. As has been the case before now, it is the people of Rivers State who are holding the short end of the stick. Because what we're hearing about is the ego of gladiators and not the interest of the people of Rivers State. And that's why I think that this is an opportunity for those who are interested in stability of Rivers State and the interests of the people. There seems to be an opportunity for them to offer the people of Rivers State an alternative beyond the shenanigans of APC politicians and their hired contractor, mercenary, who says he determines what happens in Rivers State. Now, 3, there's now the legal process, because to remove a governor from office is a constitutional process, well defined under Section 188. Now, they've started following the process. You serve notice, 1/3 of the House of Assembly, they got that. You give 14 days for the governor to respond, because he also has that privilege. Then if the House now comes together after that response and then determines that, a prima facie case for removal from office has been established, then 2/3 of the House must vote. Now, of course, you know that they will easily cross that hurdle. Then a 7-day notice will be given for the chief judge to constitute an investigative panel and for the governor to respond directly or through his representatives. But the catch there is that if he is found guilty of gross misconduct under Section 188 sub 11, it can be summarily removed, because the Constitution says what constitutes gross misconduct is the opinion of the House of Assembly. If they don't follow that process, then they will have the Lavish situation of 2016, where that process was not followed, and the Court of Appeal sitting in Ibadan and the Supreme Court then said that the removal of Governor Lavish, as he then was null and void. But the long-term thing is that as we move towards 2027, the fear is that there could be chaos, there could be confusion, which already exists in Rivers State. Final point is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu intervened the other time. That was before the declaration of a state of emergency. Perhaps the president himself needs to intervene again, because he cannot afford to have a wide Port Harcourt, a wide Rivers State. based on the kind of lessons we have had from history when politicians go must. Okay, it's the cows that go must, but we can use that metaphor.
Yes, and
in
to
this
your point,
instance.
Dr. Abati, about the people in River State, because as we speak about FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, the River State and the people of River State, there's a new video of the minister visiting the home of Senator George Sekibo in Ogu Town, River State. It's been trending on social media this week because during this visit, which happened on Monday, Wike enthusiastically commends the senator who represents Rivers East on the sheer grandeur of this country house. Let's take a look.
Correct.
And Rufai, I'll come to you on this because this video has sparked mixed reactions on social media. Of course, people are entitled to build and live in the homes that they want, but this is also a stark reminder of the gulf of wealth when it comes to wealth disparity in this country. Earlier this week, we were talking about how a court had ordered the forfeiture of 57 properties linked to the ex-Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami. But those images of that house, people have been talking about this house.
In fact, the house that will make Wike say, make I can't see you. And that's the hope of a senator in a river state where you have very high unemployment numbers, right? Mm-hmm. But that's Nigeria for you. So going back to my points, I think it was Michel Foucault. I put a finger on it. It says for a democracy to work, you must have three axes. Axis of knowledge, axis of power, axis of ethics. In democracies that work, you have an axis of knowledge. And that's why the first thing dictators do is they destroy the axis of knowledge. You can see what Trump was doing today, removing America from some scientific international organizations so that science cannot play a role, getting a conspiracy theorist to be in charge of drugs and all of that, downplaying science, downplaying investment in science. So the first thing they do is they destroy the axis of knowledge because they know the axis of knowledge will challenge your status quo. The next thing they'll do is they will destroy the axis of ethics. That's the courts. That's the relation. That's, societal ethics. That's what democracy is supposed to be about. Mm-hmm. That's accountability. That's also media. So they will go after the media, destroy the media, infiltrate the media, buy the media. That's why Trump was trying to push the Paramore deal, all right, so that his friends can have the media, so he's close to them. Then most importantly, the axis of power, which they used to perpetuate themselves. So they buy those that have to do with the axis of ethics and axis of knowledge. They buy judiciary, they buy everything to themselves and all of that. So in our political space, what only remains is the axis of power. Mm-hmm. That's why any Tom, Dick, and Harry wants to go into politics and get power for themselves. And what would they use the power to do? Outlandish buildings like these, lovely buildings and things like that. And that's why when some arguments were being made, I think it was Mr. Frank Tete that was making the argument and trying to balance. I just said it was being idealistic. Because the axis of ethics and the axis of knowledge is already gone from our politics. It's because the only axis of power is remaining. That's why you can see Fubara and Wike going after it. And that's why, coming back to the first story you brought, my solution to the process is actually ensuring that one of these two participants, the axis of power is taken away for them. That's why you can only have a resolution. If that is not done, the matter will continue. In a society that is working, that is idealistic, you will not even have a crisis like this. Because the axis of ethics will have nullified this fight. Mm-hmm. Because you have people that ethically stand, but that doesn't exist in Nigeria. And the axis of knowledge, you will even be so ashamed to be able to do this godfatherism fight. Because the access of knowledge would have nullified, and that's what institutional memory will have told you that what you're doing is wrong.
Right.
So in a society where there's access of power, you know what happens? Show of wealth by politicians while the people suffer. Inequality gap. Although I like to say inequality cautiously, because you know when you calculate the Gini coefficient of Nigeria, it's still it's not as bad as we think it is. And that's why
We have a high population.
I have a high population. I think that those are the things I have with Corredo Gini. So those are the factors. And it just shows that it's a country where the axis of power reigns supreme. So don't be surprised. Rivers has a high level of unemployment rate, but you can see what's happening there.
Yes.
Very, very quick comment. There's a story, a short story, a tough story. It's titled, How Much Land Does a Man Need? And that story, by way of summary, a Tolstoy, Russian writer, novelist, is simply that, look, human greed should have limits. The people are so greedy, they are perpetually consuming in a conspicuous manner. So I joined Wike in looking at Senator Thompson Sekibo's mansion, and I say, make una come see you, because the building is so conspicuous, you know. But human beings, you know, those who understand how these things work will say, no matter how extravagant you may be, you cannot sleep on 2 beds.
Right.
If you sleep on 2 beds, people will start wondering what is going on. You can't sleep in 2 houses. You cannot sleep in 2 rooms at the same time. Even if you say, oh, I'm the owner of this mansion, you keep going from one room to the other. In fact, your wife will start calling your family members. At the end of the day, if you die, it is 6 feet for everybody, no matter how extravagant you have been. So that's just the moral part of it. The second part of it is that, look, when you build all these big mansions, maintenance is always the problem. Many people who build big houses in the village, some of them are just building graveyards because they will never even have the time to go there.
Right.
Finally, as for this Senator Sekibo, I think questions should be asked. What is the business that he does? I don't think he will have that mansion just because he was Senator of the Federal Republic.
Right.
That would be a serious question. Number 2, how much tax has he paid? If you calculate it, is he paying tax? Because the whole idea of taxation now is to take from the rich and support the poor and make this country better for all of us.
Yeah.
How much has he given back to society in terms of philanthropy, which we say is very important? So these are some of the questions that should be asked. Otherwise, well, you know, there will be many Nigerians who will not be impressed and say, so what? So what?
Absolutely.
Are you going to sleep in 2 rooms or sleep on 2 beds at the same time? So those whose palm kernels have been clapped for them by benevolent gods should learn to be humble. That's Chino Achebe from Things Fall Apart.
Very key questions. And from there, let's take our next story from Abuja, where a video has been circulating on social media and has sparked mixed reactions because it shows a herd of cows casually strolling in front of the World Trade Center complex there. Now, that building, which is a skyscraper, is comprised of offices, luxury apartments, and more. And in this video, a man calls the cows movement in Nigeria's capital a shame to the nation while begging FCT Minister Wike to intervene. Let's watch.
The whole World Trade Center. See, cows are moving around. Wike, you have to do something about this. What is happening? World Trade Center and cows are moving around. This is a shame. This is a shame to Nigeria.
Now, I'll just take one quick reaction from Skill, who says, it's good you all want to trend. Abuja was a Fulani community before IBB decided to turn it into the federal capital. He didn't end open grazing before doing so. It's the reason why you'll always see cows in Abuja. Another person, Sheyi, said, nothing says World Trade Center Abuja like a free-range cattle parade on the pavement. Truly living the dream in Africa's giant, where cows have more right of way than cars. Modern Nigeria at its finest. And I'll take our next story because As we talk about our roads and what's going on in the public domain, a new video also surfaced on social media on Thursday evening from Lagos, which features two men as they come up to a driver in Lagos traffic, harass him, then proceed to rip his side mirror off of the car. And we'll play the video for you in a moment because the driver records the entire incident. He sees the men, they bang his window, they bang his mirror as well before then removing it from the car. And in his caption on social media, he says they ran away when they saw him recording. But, you know, a lot of the comments on social media have to do with wondering where Federal Road Safety Corps are in moments like this, especially since clearly it happened in broad daylight. Now, Vimbai, I'll come to you on both of those stories. Abuja, cows just walking in front of the World Trade Center in the Central Business District. And then Lagos just having this brazen theft of someone's window. I mean, how should we be seeing these two stories?
I mean, goodness, let's start with the cattle, because this is a contentious issue that continues to resurface in various platforms. If you see the debate around it in the Senate, for example, you realize how passionate people get about the rights of cows and the freedom of movement of cows in and around Nigeria. If you look at it from a foundational place, you understand that, okay, there are issues such as climate change. Some extremists will go as far as saying that this is the Fulanization, the herders that are overrunning the nation and have filtered as far down as Southwest and even Southeast, even South-South. In fact, you hear stories about herders, who are armed with their weapons and so forth. Now, to make an important distinction, not all herders are Fulani and not all herders are militant in nature. However, when we see many of the crimes that have been perpetuated, especially on farms in rural areas, it's usually we see a lot of, let me not say usually, that's the wrong word. We see a lot of crimes perpetuated by gun-wielding herders. Now, the conversation around ranching and so forth, in this instance, people are appealing to the Minister of FCT. Today, I disagree. This is not his purview. We have a Ministry of Livestock. The Ministry of Livestock was created specifically because we have these persistent run-ins between cattle herders and farmers and various members of society. And the idea was that, okay, as controversial as it is, it's time for us to evolve into ranching. But at the development of that ministry, when they did their findings, it was led by Professor Mahmoud Jega, who is now going into diplomatic service, former chairman of INEC. The findings were that it would take them a decade. They said they need 10 years for Nigeria to transition into ranching, which sounds absolutely shocking, especially given that this is one of the prerogatives that was listed. When Donald Trump decided to pay attention to Nigeria and insecurity, we realized that if we're to create ranching, we can at least solve one problem. Let's stop associating herders with the criminality and banditry and terrorism and so forth. Let's know who the genuine ones are and the ones who are not. But again, this always faces pushback because, like I said, there are those who advocate for the rights of cows in this country, and there are those who feel that cows should have just as much right of free movement across Nigeria as human beings, and this is what we now find ourselves. The capital city of the giant of Africa being overrun by cows. It's unfortunate, and I hope at some point common sense will prevail. These cows will be a lot healthier and will catch a much higher profit if they're in a well-established ranch where they have access to all the grass and so forth. As for the insecurity on the roads, I remember Lagos went through, the video is from Lagos State, right? Lagos went through a phase where there was a lot of crime, and then it was wiped out, I believe under the Fashola administration. A lot of this was wiped out. Now it's unfortunate that given the economic pressures that are faced not just in Lagos, across the whole nation, we're seeing the resurgence of petty crime, all these kinds of thugs, all this. This is a sign of a breakdown in society. Yeah. This is a sign of an increase in poverty. Yes, All societies have criminals of this nature. But I'm just saying the resurgence of some of these crimes. I used to live in Johannesburg, and I feel so much safer in Lagos than I do in Johannesburg. Johannesburg, you can't even drive with your handbag in your car. You have to put it in the boot. And I loved that when I moved to Lagos, you could drive very freely and not worry about these things. Now, for us to start to, degenerate to a place where potentially we now have to sort of clutch our pearls when we're driving is unfortunate. And it has been on, and special attention needs to be paid to
your
it.
window?
Yes. In fact, that day, thank God I had money with me. I just had to hand them out money. So I've been robbed like that. It's what happened in Lagos. But I know where it happened. It's around that CAC church, when you're just, I think before you start to go straight to, that CAC church around that, what's it called? After, when you leave Olushosu, the dump site, and you drive forward a bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
On the mainland.
So there's normally a traffic build-up around there. And constantly those boys will come out there, harass you in traffic. And that's sometimes I normally have cash. But what's the solution? You see, across that path, where you see there's bush or something there, just deploy police officers there.
Mm-hmm. And he said that there was a police station close to
No,
that
it's not
area.
about police station. We're saying deploy police officers to patrol. Not FRSC, no.
Okay.
These are criminals, but it's not a traffic crime. These are real thieves. Those boys, they have knives. The boys that came with it, they had knives. In fact, this boy just wanted to pick up something. And that's why, because they couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
That's why they took his side mirror. So what you do, deploy police around there so that when they strike, people can alert. So that's it. It's been happening there for so many years. I've been robbed. Like, you have to have money with you in the car to be able to give out to them.
Absolutely.
Okay, one small comment. Earlier on, I was saying when cows go must. It's actually elephants that go must. Shooting an elephant, George Orwell. I remember now. So, but in this particular case of cows, I didn't even know you were going to bring this story about cows. Did you notice that the cows were walking in front of the World Trade Center? You people have been saying on this same table that, herders, cattle herders are businessmen.
Yes.
Is it not possible that they have an engagement at the World Trade Center for sale? The location is quite appropriate.
We are an agric-based economy. Because if we say Nigeria happened, they will say no.
This is World Trade Center.
This is World Trade Center. So please, the cows have rights. In fact, I think what they should do, Dr. Abati.
They are going to the market.
Dr. Abati,
the World Trade
Center. Is this the only one you saw? Was there not a picture of cows being sold in front of a bank?
Wow.
In Lagos. Wow. So that one too was there. So please, let's encourage more cows on the roads in Abuja because they should take over the roads.
For the people who are complaining and all
why
that,
should they complain?
That cows are. These are senior citizens of
the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
These are senior citizens.
These are senior citizens.
Because when you see cows on the road, you park. You allow them to.
You respect them. That's just what you do.
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Yes, and let's. Now, we've been talking a lot about transport, but now let's head to Ekiti State briefly, where there's another video trending on social media of the Nollywood filmmaker Bolaji Ogunmola, who calls out United Nigeria Airlines for leaving her stranded at the airport in Ekiti for over 24 hours. Now, in a video posted on her Instagram page from the airport on Thursday, she shares that she had to miss her first day on set in Lagos after her flight was delayed all day, then canceled. She then says she used her own money to pay for a motel, hoping the flight would take off the next morning, but it was pushed again from 9 till 12 p.m., then 5:30 p.m., and it still didn't take off. Let's watch.
It's not only my time that these people are toying with, it's actually my source of livelihood as well. I'm literally stuck. I'm literally outside. And there is no reason why that is happening. There is no reason, there's no conversation, there is no, everybody says sorry to me. What am I supposed to do? I'm literally stuck here. I'm not going to shout, I'm not going to fight. I have to go by road, which is very unsafe, but I need to get to work. So I'm going to go, and my lawyers will take this up. I just wanted to have, I just needed to have I just need to have evidence of what has.
Now, in a statement posted on their X profile yesterday, United Nigeria Airlines apologized, saying that the flight was disrupted due to unscheduled aircraft maintenance, and that communication was sent to passengers via email and text. But surely one would think that there should be some sort of guardrails or compensation for passengers if delayed. Let's now move on to Milestones, where today we're celebrating the 61st birthday of the former group CEO of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, Mele Kyari, as someone who embodies decades of experience and expertise in Nigeria's oil and gas industry. Now, born January 9, Kyari received his bachelor's degree in geology and earth science from the University of Maiduguri, before then beginning a career as a field geologist with the Department of Geological Survey of Nigeria. In 1991, he joined the NNPC, and by 2007, Kyari was made to lead the production sharing contracts management in the crude oil marketing division. He worked a series of roles within the organization, and in 2018, he stepped into the critical role of becoming Nigeria's national representative at OPEC. But it was the following year, in 2019, under President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, that he was made Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, a role he held up until last year. And Kyari has often, recounted his journey from humble beginnings to ultimately lead Africa's largest national oil company and what it took for him to get there. So from all of us at Arise News, we wish Mele Kyari a very happy birthday. And now more under Milestones, because we're also celebrating the 48th birthday of Zak Adedeji, the chairman of Nigeria's Revenue Service, a man President Bola Tinubu saluted for his charismatic dedication to restructuring, aligning, and managing the revenue profile of the entire country. Now, born in Oyo State on the 8th of January, he received his Bachelor of Science from Obafemi Awolowo University, where he obtained a first-class degree in accounting. Adedeji previously served as a senior member of Procter & Gamble's management team, as Commissioner of Finance for Oyo State when he was just 33 years old, as well as Executive Secretary of the National Sugar Development Council. Now, Adedeji also worked as the special advisor to the president on revenue before being appointed as chairman of Nigeria's Revenue Service in September of 2023. And in a statement posted yesterday, the president commended him for his leadership of the 83-year-old revenue agency, emphasizing how he's brought in fresh ideas, global best practices, and the upskilling of the company's staff. So from all of us at Arise, we also wish Zak Adedeji a very happy birthday. 2 birthdays on a Friday. Happy birthday to both of them. Absolutely.
Sorry, before you move on, I have to correct myself. In referring to the former INEC chairman, Jega, I confused him for Yakubu, who is going into diplomatic service. Jega is not going into diplomatic service. I just want to clarify that point.
Thank you for that. Very key, very key. Thank you, Bye.